Hey everybody! I thought I would take a few minutes and just present the information to you for those of you that couldn't make it to the Tutor Toolbox. Now, you're not going to get the full Tina Firewolf zip bang fun stuff that happened in person. You got to come in person for that. But I will do my very best to share all the information with you as quickly as possible. So, all right, here we go. We're going to share the screen. Thank you for one moment here. Welcome to Pronunciation and the Tutor Toolbox. So, next up, thank you for joining. Thank you for putting all the effort in you guys do to learn new things and to try to understand even better how to be an even more awesome tutor than you already are. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about fluency and pronunciation. We're going to talk about when to correct people, when not to correct your student, how do you correct your student, and we're going to talk about some tools and tips, okay? How to polish, how to practice, and you will even leave the training with some hands-on things. So if you're watching this recording, that means you didn't get the handouts. So you could just email me and say, "Hey Tina, I'd love to have the handouts from the Tutor Toolbox on pronunciation," and I will get them to you. So feel free to remember that, okay? All right, let's dive in. First thing I want for you is to become realistic about pronunciation. Really got to remember that these people are adults learning something extremely challenging. That is really hard to do as an adult, especially because it's the English language, which we all know can be really, really full of just super amounts of pitfalls, right? So your expectation of what functional English is needs to become more realistic and match the student's idea of what functional English is, okay? So let me just show you, and some of you have seen this, a timeline of emotions. Typically, tutors come in at this place down here where it says, ready to change a life. They're like, yeah, I'm changing a life. And the tutors are super, super ready and excited. And within weeks, you jump in and you go to training and you become a tutor. Whereas students sometimes can be considering for years whether they want to learn English. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time. And to be very honest, there are all sorts of ways to sort of kind of gimp along through life with Google Translate and things like that. They don't even need to learn, right? So it takes time for them to actually enter the class, sometimes even years to make that big decision and actually be dedicated. So look at the difference, right? From the very beginning, right? And then within 1 to 3 months, we typically start to hear tutors say, they're not really talking. They're not really talking to me. I don't know why they're not talking. It takes them 1 to 3 months sometimes to just be willing to speak, to be willing to say hello, thank you, just really basic things because we're shy. People are shy. We don't want to make mistakes, right? We're an adult. We're not supposed to be making mistakes. At least that's what our mind tells us. And then within 3 to 6 months, typically tutors are like, their grammar, right? But in 3 to 6 months, the student is just now starting to speak with their family, with their children at home, because children at home can be really brutal to their parents who are learning to speak. They tease them and they're embarrassed of their parents and all of these things. And whether that, sounds nice to you or not, it's true. This is part of what they're going through. So you need to just have a little bit more awareness of the divide that there really is. Okay, and I know you have big, beautiful hearts and you want to help. So here we go. When do you correct them? Here's a little bit of structure so you can think about like, well, when do I step in? If they're making an error that will dramatically affect the way somebody understands them, then you're going to want to help them understand what word they should be saying or why the way they're pronouncing it, it might make it sound like a whole other word and cause confusion. There's an opportunity to correct, okay? If the error that they're making is going to lead to embarrassment, you definitely want to correct them. Now, you don't want to necessarily correct people when they're speaking or reading. Give them a little time to try, to struggle, to complete whatever thought they have, and then you can bring up, what you want to talk about. Maybe just make a little note of it. All right? When you're teaching new vocabulary, definitely make sure you, as the tutor, you are enunciating and giving them the full understanding of how to pronounce the new vocabulary. And the last one is when the lesson is about pronunciation. If the whole lesson is about pronunciation, then wow, you get to really focus on it. Otherwise, it's just something that gets kind of peppered in throughout the step forward curriculum because your journey as a tutor is to walk them through the curriculum, right? You're on this little path with them. When do you not correct them? You don't want to interrupt a person's flow because they're thinking and they're translating, and that takes a lot of effort and energy. So if they're working really hard to get a sentence out, don't stop them mid-sentence trying to help them correct a pronunciation because they're really struggling to just get the words out. Let them get the words out. You could even jot down what you're hearing that you want to talk with them about, but let them struggle, let them try, let them practice, right? Before you correct. You can not correct, right? We're talking about not correcting. Don't correct them if they're trying something and they're reaching or stretching and it's way above their level. Somebody today said, well, what's a good example? And somebody yelled out chrysanthemum. And it's like, yes, thank you, Joe. That was a great word because chrysanthemum is like a super challenging word. It's a very high level word. And if they are even attempting it, then two thumbs up, right? Even if it sounds completely bizarre. And now we have fireworks going off. I don't know what's happening. Okay. If the error is ingrained, you typically don't want to correct them unless they request it. So, as a student progresses in fluency, as they become even more fluent, that's when they hear themselves. Okay, they will start to hear themselves in a different way as they become more fluent, and they will say, "Oh, please stop." Stop me from saying this word incorrectly because they know they're doing it incorrectly and they are actually asking for it, right? So unless they ask for it, sometimes things are really ingrained and you might want to let it go. You don't want to correct somebody in front of a group of people or in front of their family or something like that. Wait until you have a quiet time in a session to explain and then you can correct. All right, moving on. What do you look for? So when you go to correct somebody, what exactly are you looking for? And you're looking for the mouth position, the vowel pronunciation, and the placement in the mouth, the consonant pronunciation, and any stress patterns. Now, this can get really complex. People write huge books on this stuff, but we're going to keep it really simple for today, okay? Watch for where is the sound vibrating in the mouth. You can just think about yourself when you're speaking the word. Let's play with the word they. They. So you're thinking about, well, where is the vibration happening? Okay, it's kind of between my teeth and my tongue, right? How much vibration is there? What are my lips doing when things are vibrating? Where's my tongue? Are my teeth involved? And is there a relationship between the tongue and the teeth and the lips, right? That's what you're trying to help the student understand so that they can then produce the sounds and the word. This is where you, as the tutor, are watching and listening, and you're really tuning into your own self to help them pardon me, reproduce the sound. So I gave out some sheets on this in the class, okay? Polishing and practicing the placement together. So one of the things that I really love to do the first 10 minutes of class, even at the end of the 10 minutes of class, consistently is to help them build face muscles, tongue muscles, and have fun. Let go of the, you know, just this intensity thinking they have to get everything right. They're brand new to something. So you want to be playful. You want to have some fun with this, and you want to give them permission to make a bunch of mistakes. So here's the face exercises. The first one is called horse lips. It helps to loosen up the muscles in the face because to speak clearly, you need to use your whole face. And a lot of languages do not do that. Okay, so here we go, relaxing the upper lip and the lower lip, and it looks like this. You're letting both lips vibrate and everything loosens up. And your student's going to laugh, and you get to laugh. And all that anxiety around saying things properly starts to dissolve. The second one helps with the real crisp sounds like P and B. And I call this one fish lips, and it looks like this. So you puff up your cheeks, you hold your lips really tightly, and you curl the lips inward on themselves, okay? And then you try to push air through. It does not sound like, not that. You want them to hold the lips in. So when they say P and B, they have the strength in the lips. And you will see it can be very challenging for people. And the last one, brace yourself. I'm about to stick my tongue out at you. You're going to stick your tongue out. It's going to help build the strength in your tongue, which is a muscle that's much bigger than you might realize. You're going to stick it out, curl it up, and we're going to be moving it around. Ready? Here we go. Out. Right? And you do this repeatedly from side to side and all around, getting the strength in the tongue. Okay? And it's fun, and you'll laugh, and you give them permission to make mistakes. Then we can begin polishing, right? It's like they. So the TH, the tongue comes into contact with the teeth. There's a little bit of vibration. They. And the mouth just opens. They're not pulling the tongue back in, they just open the mouth. Because otherwise, you want to break it down, right? So it's like, let's vibrate the tongue first. And then you move to the next part of the word. They. So all I'm doing is opening my mouth. My tongue is still sitting there. This is what they typically do when they're still struggling, and it looks like this. They, and they pull their tongue in. That's not what you want, okay? You're going to be working with them one little piece at a time to get the whole word spoken. It takes time. Breathe. Breathe. Right? Look, you got this the hidden in there. I should have brought some water. I apologize. I've been talking quite a long time today, so bear with me. This is just a little bit of an explanation on how to take a word, how to split up that word, how to pay attention to all the things that are going on in your own mouth as the tutor so that you can explain that one little tiny piece at a time. Okay? We're going to move on. Polishing tip. Here's a pro tip, right? If all you did as a tutor was really truly ensure that you were personally enunciating and speaking that final consonant on every word, bank, thank, can't, can. If you're doing that, they're going to do that. That, I bet 50% they're going to feel better about their pronunciation. And you, as the listener, are going to go, oh, they're pronunciating because they are speaking that, they're actually enunciating, but because they're speaking that ending consonant. right? That is huge. Speaking, right? Get the G in there. It feels funny. It feels funny to them. They've never done that before. So this is going to feel silly. And that's why the face exercises and sort of lowering the anxiety level and helping people laugh and everything, it's really, really useful in learning to truly pronounce and enunciate words. What's the one thing you should not be doing a lot of in class? Da, 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 da. Go ahead. I'm listening. Talking. You shouldn't be over explaining. You shouldn't be teaching a whole bunch. You should not be talking. They're the ones that are getting to talk. And you might say, What? What am I supposed to be doing then? You're guiding them through the step forward curriculum. You're just pointing, right? You're modeling. You're guiding them through the different practices that are there. And then you help apply the information, right? You help to apply the information. The face exercises, great application. The taking the word and breaking it into little pieces, they, applying, right? Helping them read, asking them, what does that mean? Can you tell me where to do here? You're helping them apply and think. That's all you're doing. And you're moving them through the curriculum that's in front of you. That's it. I know you might be sitting there going, What? And if you are, reach out and we'll talk. Okay, polishing tip number 2. This is a really super effective thing. Looks like, sounds like. So, this word usually is a tough word right here. Usually. If somebody that's an English language learner looks at that word, they just go, Oh, right. There's 2 U's, there's 2 L's side by side, and there's that silly Y. What am I supposed to do with all of that? But if you say to them, this is what it looks like, this is what it's spelled like, this is the word usually, but then you say it sounds like use usually. They go, oh, usually, and they will get it. I'm not kidding you. They will literally get it just like that. Words that maybe you have been trying to help them with over and over again. I'm telling you, you do this, they're going to go, bing. Now, this here, remember, you can make it as hard as you want. You can use little stress marks and all this kind of stuff. Don't do that. They don't need to know. They will not understand because you're going to start to teach. That is not what you're supposed to be doing. They don't need to know how much you know or how smart you are. They already know you're smart, right? They need you to guide them through what's in front of them. That's it. So you would just write it out, the word out, the way you feel it sounds. Okay. Use you, lee. There is no textbook that you can look up like how to like pull out the word, although there probably is. But I don't want you there. I want you just with yourself, like, oh, you know what? This is how this word sounds. This is going to help them. You can do that. You guys are incredible. I'm sure of it. This is looks like, sounds like it's one of the polishing tips. Playful tools, tongue twisters. Oh my gosh, look at this tongue twisters. There's a W and an H. There's a T and an H. There's ER. I mean, you got T in here. So you can start a class just by getting their face warmed up with the exercises, laugh a little bit, toss in a tongue twister, and start reviewing their homework. You could try that. So if you've been through my training, you know what the class pace flow chart is. You're going to see that class pace flow chart. It says like the first 10 minutes, do a warm up. Of course, the lesson plan book for tutors has a warm up already crafted for you in there, but this is always nice to toss in too. Whether the weather be fine, and then I would have them do it, whether the weather be fine or whether the weather be not, right? And that's what you're doing. You're enunciating and helping them. And you can read it together and you can laugh and you can make mistakes. Remember, a lot of what we're doing is lowering the anxiety level, giving them permission to be playful and have fun learning. If you're having fun learning, you're going to be relaxed. Everything's just going to come a lot. simpler. So this is just a playful tool, a little bit of tongue twisters, right? Okay, this one happens to be really good because it's got a yummy bunch of THs in it. General tips. Speak slowly. The tutors speak slowly and not all that often. Ensure you are enunciating. As a tutor, that's gigantic. Speak slowly, not all that often, and ensure you are enunciating. You want to listen really carefully, okay? You're thinking about, well, where is their tongue placing in their mouth and where does it really need to be placing in their mouth? Where is the vibration happening and where should the vibration be happening? You're listening and watching, like, what are their lips doing, right? So if you're trying to help them say the word they, then you're watching to see, well, where, oh, they don't have their tongue coming out of their mouth a little bit, right? Because it has to hit the teeth. It has to hit the teeth. I'm exaggerating it, right? And students always say, I don't want to stick my tongue out. I'm exaggerating it so that you can see, right? So that the student can see. Yes, you can look in a little mirror, but it's really great if you just feel into the body, okay? They. All right. So you are listening really intently as the tutor. You're going to repeat back to them what you hear versus what is correct. So one of the tutors today said the word that one of their students has the most trouble with is ache. Ache. They say ache, because it looks like ache, right? ACHE. But the word is ache. So every time they say ache, you say, this is what I hear. I hear ache, but the word is ache. And then you could do the looks like, sounds like to help them with that. And I'm telling you, the looks like, sounds like is like a light bulb. It's just like ding, and they go, oh, right? And we did face exercises already. You could do word of the day. Like if it were me, now I know I'm going to write this on here and it'll turn it backwards because I don't have that fixed on my computer. But if I would have the word looks like, and then I'd have the word ache, and then I'd have sounds like, and I'd have it written out down here so that they know what it sounds like. And I just have this like sitting there on one of those little small dry erase boards. And then, every time they say it wrong, you can just kind of go, you don't even have to speak, you guys. You just point and they go, ache. You just correct them by pointing. That's it. You're modeling. And you have some support right there with the looks like and sounds like. So, word of the day, pick a word like the most missed word and make it the word of the day. And then ensure that they are really always practicing just that one word. And every time they get it wrong, you just point at the board. Like if they stumble or if they pause for a really long time because they're trying to process, just point to the board so they have some scaffolding, some support to help them produce the word and the sound. Okay? Practice the word of the day through the whole lesson. We just talked about that. And you can record speaking the word correctly on their phone. So let's just pretend that they're trying to say the word ache properly. You can record yourself on their phone saying ache, ache. And then they can listen to it 100,000 times if that's really something that's bothering them. Okay. So these are just some very easy tips to help you stay realistic, right? Because pronunciation is like a huge ocean, and you are in there trying to figure out, how much of that ocean you need to worry about, right? So hopefully this was helpful to you today. Two things that you would have received if you came to the tutor training is a little word cube that you can build for yourself. It's a fun way to play a little game where out of paper you make this cube and you put the words on the outside of the cube that are the most misspoken by that student. And then at the beginning of the class or at the end of the class, you can roll the cube and play and practice. Or maybe you want to pick the word of the day and you roll the cube and you pick the word of the day. So I have a little template for you to build that word cube. So let me know if you want it. And then there was a sheet called the Sounds of English that have all those sounds broken down for you. So when you're trying to do things like they, it tells you exactly like place your tongue here, the vibration should happen there. And so it's already all sort of done for you. But I really encourage you to just sit with your own body, think about the way you're pronouncing certain words and where the lips and the tongue and the teeth are all involved, and get a real feel for it. Because if you just use that sheet, it may not, it's very mental, right? It becomes very mental instead of being in your own body, experiencing it and helping, because you're trying to help somebody get into their body, not their head. So you're not really teaching how to speak the word, you're helping them experience the word. Big difference. All right. This was a very shortened version of what happened today, but I hope it's at least helpful. If you have food for thought or you want, you have questions like this gave you food for thought, please reach out. I'm happy to help you in any way that I can. And I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for hanging in there with me till the end of this. Take care.